Hi, good afternoon. It's like evening, I guess. I think I mentioned before that we were on our fertility journey, and that at the time we were sort of at a place where we weren't doing too much in terms of like medicated cycles or anything. We were mostly doing, I was taking ovulation predictor kits, and I'm on Metformin because I have PCOS, insulin resistant PCOS. And so those were kind of the major things that we were doing to help us conceive. But I want to give a quick update since then, because it's been a while. We've been really busy, and just give you a quick overview of my first cycle on Clomid. And today is the first day of my second cycle on Clomid. So just a little bit about what we've been going through. So first, we've been trying to conceive for almost a year. I went through a period where, period's probably not the word to use here. I went through a time where I was not getting a menstrual cycle at all, maybe for about 2 months. And usually doctors are not too concerned, but I've been trying to be very insistent when it comes to my health. And so I went and I said it, and they were like, well, you know, it's not so bad. And I was like, but it's not normal. It's not normal for me. And so we did the blood work, and it turns out I do have PCOS. And I have to go and look at my blood work charts, which I do have access to, my results. But I think I have whichever PCOS it is, where I'm insulin resistant, and where like my body's releasing too much of the two hormones. I think it's FH and L something, I don't know. But the two that are supposed to be in one ratio, I'm in a different ratio, where my body's producing too much of one and not enough of the other or something. Or just too much of one. I don't know. I'm out of ratio. So I'm on the Metformin for that, and I've been on Metformin since September. September, October, November, December, January, February, March. 6 months. I've been on Metformin for 6 months. I take 1,000 milligrams of Metformin. So I take it twice a day. I take it in the morning and at night. And that works for me. I will say my first symptoms with Metformin were atrocious, just awful. I had really, really bad nausea. I did not have the diarrhea that some people experience. I did not have, but I had really, really bad nausea. And I was spacey. And I don't eat breakfast, so that was part of the problem, and I've been trying to do that more. But I was just like, I felt like I was in a cloud, in a fog some days, and that was really hard for me. But I will say I started out, my doctor recommended, sorry, I'm sitting on the floor. We moved in about a year ago, and we still haven't like done everything. But my doctor suggested starting off with only half a dose the first week, and then working my way up to my full dose. And so even in that first week, it was kind of rough. But I think the worst of my symptoms was that nausea and the like spaciness of my head, because I was at work and I was just like, I'm sorry, I'm not concentrating on what people are saying. And I think the other thing was, I'm prone to headaches anyway. I get migraines. And so I did have some headaches, but I didn't feel like I could attribute them to the Metformin. So to be fair, I don't know if it was Metformin induced headaches. I was just getting my normal headaches, but the nausea and like the kind of zoned out feeling I was having, those were not great. I just started my first cycle of Clomid last month. I did my first cycle of Clomid in the month of February, I think. So how I led to Clomid, because I did not think I would be prescribed Clomid, because I hadn't been trying exactly a year yet. And I know a lot of people say you have to be trying exactly a year, but I was not. And so I did the Clomid. I went into my doctor, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm ovulating. And he's not concerned. So a couple of things I should tell you about my PCOS. In September, after I got my blood work done, and I went in to have them talk to me about it, my period started that day, like while I was in the doctor's office. And so after not having it for 2 months, it came the day I was in the doctor's office. And after that, it was pretty consistently coming, maybe within a day or two of where it should have been every month. And so my doctor was really like, that's great, this is good, this is a good sign. And I thought, yeah, that's a good sign, this is really exciting. I'd always kind of had I think a regular period. I don't know, I've been on birth control for a while, so I don't know. But I don't remember, I guess I should say, but I went and I was like, okay, you think that's great, but I'm not feeling good about it because something's not right. Like, I've been trying with consistent periods for months, timing it what I thought was perfectly, getting positive ovulation tests, but not super positives, right? Like, I was getting a line that was like the same color as my control line on an ovulation test, sometimes a little bit darker, but not a super dark line always. And so I mentioned this and he was just like, well, and my little phases were short. Like, I would have my period and then maybe like, I think I was usually ovulating around 17 days after my period. I was ovulating, and then like 10 days I would get my period. 10 days after that I would get my period. And I was like, is that enough time? Because most people go 14. And he was like, oh, you know, it's fine. PCOS. I think with PCOS sometimes it tends to be like these things are kind of hard to nail down, sort of. And so we talked about it. And he was like, well, we can check your tubes, but I don't think you need that right now. And I was like, well, that's okay. I want to do it if I don't have to do it. But we did decide to try Clomid. And he did give me the warning that Clomid is increases your risk of twins by like 5 or 10%. I can't remember which one he said. So we did agree on trying Clomid for the month. And I was instructed to take 50 milligrams of Clomid for 5 days. For 5 days. I start on the 3rd day of my period and I go until the 7th day. I only have my period for 5 days most of the time, but you just take it until it runs out. So you take it until day 7. And I did that last month. Took it 3 through 7 and 50 milligrams, and that was in conjunction with my 1000 milligrams of metformin. We had sex during my fertile window, and I did get a positive ovulation test. It was pretty stark positive, like a pretty dark control line. And so I do feel like the Clomid did a good job of making me ovulate. That's great. Cool. I love it. But it wasn't obviously successful for me. So my first round of Clomid, 7 days, and that was last month. And it wasn't bad until, and some of the common side effects of Clomid are often like headaches. I think some people have said nausea, stuff like that. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, I've heard they can be really bad, but I was like, okay, whatever. What won't you do at this point? So I took it. I was doing fine. I want to say maybe day 2 or day 3. The first day I was like, this is cool. I'm cruising. I want to say day 2 or day 3, I had a really bad headache. Now, again, I'm prone to headaches, but my migraines, I always know they always come in a certain area, and I know what they feel like at this point. And I do sometimes get light sensitivity with my migraines, but when I get light sensitivity, it's like I need to go lie down. I need to be in a dark space. I need to put something cold on my forehead or something. This was not bad. I was in my office at work and I was just like, I don't know if y'all can see me, but I was squinting. That's what I was doing. And I had a student talking to me and I was just like, I'm sorry. Like, it felt like, I don't know. This was all, this hurt, just everything hurt. Everything hurt. And it didn't feel like a migraine. It just felt like my senses were overloaded, which is weird. And I did not hear anything about light sensitivity. I heard about vision problems. I've read that people have blurry vision or like spots in their vision, but I just could not stand the lights. And at first I didn't make a connection. I'm just like, why are these lights bothering me? And then I remembered and I Googled it, and like, I don't know, I think some obscure site was like, yeah, it can happen. And I was like, bet, I believe it, because this is not normal. This is not my normal. So that was one of my weirdest symptoms. The other one is the sweats, the hot flashes. I should call them the hot flashes people get. I thought I had escaped this side effect until I was waking up soaked. Like, I did not have hot flashes during the day. I was fine. My office is also very cold, and so like I would notice a hot flash. I didn't have any hot flashes during the day. What was happening though is a couple of times, and it wasn't a lot, I think maybe twice, I woke up and I was like wet. Like I was just like sweating. And I don't sleep in a lot of clothes. So, and we keep our house cold because we both like to sleep in the cold. It was weird. And I don't like that. So I definitely did get hot flashes at night, apparently. One thing that I read or saw that a lot of people talked about in their YouTube videos about their Clomid experience was that they had very bad pains in their ovaries right around ovulation time. And so this is partially why I think very early in this process I was kind of like, oh, this isn't gonna work. Because, and I was talking to my friend about this, everyone was like, I had terrible pains. Like all the people that I see that had success stories were like, my ovulation was so strong that I had to like sit down from the pain, or I had to lie down from the pain. I couldn't take it. It was hurting for an hour, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, this about to be the medicine. Like, this is gonna get me going. And my ovulation predictor strip was positive. It was very positive. But again, I've always gotten positive ones. And so I don't know if that's because of the overactive hormone that I have with my PCOS. I don't know. I thought this time it was because of Clomid, and I feel like it might be. That's why it's stronger, and that's a good thing. But I didn't feel any of that. I never felt, like, don't get me wrong, I've never felt an egg, like I don't usually feel my ovulation. This time I will definitely say, like, I remember looking at Marc and I was just like, I feel my ovaries. I feel them. They are there. They're there. Usually I don't feel like I'm not, they're like an appendix. Like I don't think about them being there. And when my cramps start, they usually start in like the uterus area, like in my lower stomach. This time it was not that. I did feel them, but I didn't have this gripping feeling that people talked about, or this clawing, tugging feeling that people talked about. I didn't have that. I just felt like a throb here and there. And that was it. And so I'm waiting, like, please knock me out, like throw me down. I'm ready for it. Nothing. Now I was telling my friend, like, I have a decent pain tolerance, I think. Over the years I've done pretty well with pain, and so I thought like maybe I'm just not, like maybe it's really that bad and I'm just like okay with it, but I don't think it was. And so I don't know if maybe very early that's why I was feeling not very optimistic about this, because I just didn't feel like I was getting that experience that a lot of people were getting. So that didn't have me that optimistic about it. And then my period cramps usually start about 2 days before my actual period comes. This time they started about 5 days before. I want to say, I don't remember what day post ovulation I was, but this, I think it was about 5 days before, and they were like there as if my period was coming the next day or 2 days from now, and they were just there. And that was a little new to me. I wasn't really used to that, and at that point I started to think my period was going to be here like ASAP, and I was very aware and like often checking myself and stuff, and it didn't come until Monday, which was obviously, like I said, 5 days after the pains had started. And so that was a little weird. I wasn't expecting that. I also had acid reflux. So about 2 days before, 2 or 3 days before, I want to say that I was 10 DPO, 11 DPO, and 12 DPO, because my period came on 13. So I think I was 10, 11, and 12 days post ovulation. My acid reflux started, and I don't get it. I've had acid reflux one time, and that was during that window where I didn't get my period, which was, I believe, July and August. In July or August, mid-August, that was just, I never got a period then, so I don't even know. That's all one big time to me. But during that time, I had an acid reflux and cramps, and yet I still never got a period. And so this time, this was only my second time having that feeling, and I just felt like that was weird. And that's a new symptom for me. I don't know if that's like enhanced because of the Clomid or something, like typical symptoms are enhanced, but that was a new period symptom for me, and it was weird. I did not enjoy. So that was really like a very bare bones sort of synopsis of what my first Clomid experience was, and a little bit about what my Metformin experience has been like. To be honest, I would endure more for a baby, and that's just that. Like I've seen I have the Glow app, and so I'm often on like the forums there and reading people's stories, and I've seen some people be hesitant about Clomid because they're like, oh, I've heard the side effects are so bad, and that might be true. I like feel like they are probably very different for everyone. But what I'll say for myself is absolutely would like if I had the choice would do it again. I am doing it again actually, so there, I am doing it again, and I would keep doing it. So Clomid you can only take for a certain amount of time. I believe most people do it for about 6 cycles. My doctor has me currently on a 2-cycle plan. I am not monitored with my Clomid, neither the first cycle or this one, meaning I'm not doing any blood work or ultrasounds to see if my follicles are growing. We're just kind of testing it out because, like I said, my doctor's pretty convinced that like we don't need drastic measures yet, because it hasn't been a year, and because my PCOS is relatively newly diagnosed, he's getting an idea of what my body's doing. And since I'm getting my periods regularly, we're just kind of playing it by ear with a little bit of help from the Clomid and the Metformin. I am doing the 2nd cycle, and I'm not sure if I'm optimistic about it, to be honest. I don't know if I'm doing it as more of like I'm doing it so that I can tell my doctor I did it, and so we can talk about next steps. But I'm doing it because it's an option, right? Like I'm not sitting on my hands, and this feels better than when I felt like I was just trying to no avail. So I'll be doing this for my 2nd cycle, and I'm hoping to keep you guys updated on what this cycle is like and any symptoms or side effects that I have from the Clomid this cycle as well. But I just want to give you a quick overview of like what my first cycle was like, and it was not great. It was definitely not as bad as I was prepared for, and I'm honestly hoping it's a little worse this time and it actually works. But if it doesn't, I think a lot of people recommend Femara for people with, I think that's how you say it, Femara, for people with PCOS, and so maybe that's one of our next stops. I don't know. My husband, as you guys know, Marc, has already done, and you can see that in one of our Vlogmas videos, where he talks about the materials that the fertility clinic had for him to do his sample. He's already done his semen analysis. He actually did 2. They did 1, and then the doctor, they didn't wash the first sample, so the doctor did that one, and then she wanted a wash sample as well, so he went back so that they could do a wash sample, and both were really good. They look great, and they did mention that those are good. He has really good samples if we do want to do an IUI, because he told them that I have PCOS. So if that's a step for us, we are open to that as well. But right now I would love to just conceive. Like, you know, I don't know if I'm super picky about how. We're just working on it and trying things. And so far Clomid is where we are, and I'm hoping that this goes well. If not, I will definitely let you know what my doctor says after. I'm on my 2nd cycle of Clomid now, and today is March 20th. And so by the time I finish this, it'll still be in March, but by the time I ovulate, we'll be in early April. I'm so wrong, guys. I'm getting my months mixed up. So yes, by the time I finish this cycle of Clomid, it'll still be March, but by the time I should ovulate, it should be April. It will be April. I think that's right. Almost April. And so I would obviously be in my 2-week wait until mid-April, and then hopefully I'll have a doctor's appointment by the end of April, early May, to figure out what our next steps are if it doesn't work. So that's pretty much where we are. Okay, so I actually just want to tell you guys when I ovulated after doing my Clomid, because I don't remember, but I'm checking. Okay, so I started Clomid on Thursday. February 21st was my very first day of Clomid, and that means that I finished it on, sorry, I logged it, but I was just double checking. I finished it on Monday, February 25th. So I ovulated on, or the estimated ovulation date for me was March 5th. So I would show you. I just realized I log all my sex in here. Which is important because I don't want us to like not know when we're doing it. But actually I haven't been lately. Which, by the way, I really like the Glow app because I have I'm linked to Marc on here, and so he can like go in and see my calendar and like log sex too if I forget or something, just so we can keep up. So anyway, I ovulated on the 5th, which puts me at 8 days after my last Clomid pill. So if I'm following the same schedule, I'll finish this Clomid on Tuesday the 26th, and so I would ovulate around the 3rd or 4th of April, which would put us in a 2-week wait of around the 17th or so of April, being like when I should be expecting my period, 17th or 18th. So that's really where we are. You know, my ovulation happened when I think it was supposed to happen and not late like it usually does, so that's also a positive. So we'll see. As for round 2 of Clomid, today I have no side effects so far. I will say I'm getting a little bit of a headache now, but again, with me and headaches, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. It could just be me. But I feel fine. Yeah, day 1, not so bad. I take my Clomid in the morning. A lot of people recommend taking it at night to skip the side effects. It's just easier for me to remember in the morning. But I take mine in the morning, and so hopefully over the next couple of days, I'll keep you all updated on what the rest of my days look like. And then hopefully I'll remember to update you fully on day 1 because it's only 6:30 p.m. right now, and so I don't know if I'll start to feel worse by tonight, but if I do, I'll try to remember to put that in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching.